Hello there everyone, X Benedict Studios here, and today I'll share you my ideal versions of the main 12 characters from Thomas and Friends. Many people have done similar things, and I thought I'd throw my own hat into the ring because why not? Before we get into this, I just want to address the fact that this is just my own personal headcanon, and I'm not covering any lore of the official show or the books. Also, feel free to disagree with me. Without further ado, let's get into this! I didn't change much with Thomas. He's an LBS Year E2, specifically number 106. He was built in 1915 and was allocated New Cross sheds. But only a few weeks after being built, he was involved in a theater bombing and helped a goods train leave the yards. Since there was no time to uncouple him, he went along for the ride all the way to Tidmouth. He was loaned to the NWR and eventually was bought by it in 1916. He worked as a station pilot at Tidmouth until he rescued James and was given the Farquhar branch line. In 1927, Thomas was involved in an accident where NWR number 87546 had pushed him off a quay at the old Knapford Harbour. Thankfully, he landed in a shallow part of it, so he didn't sink. It took nearly 12 hours, however, to rescue the stranded tank engine. After the incident, he was sent away to the works to be rebuilt with a flat rear running board. And also 87546 got exiled from the island. Good riddance, I say. In 1940, he, along with the other engines, were painted into a wartime black livery, and they remained in this until 1945. In 1960, after crashing into the station master's house, he was rebuilt with a flat running board, and after this, story goes the same as in the books. Edward is another character I didn't change much in terms of his species. He's a Furness Railway K2, specifically number 36, and worked express trains along the Furness Railway, passing through Barrow, where he met many of the Solar and mainland edges with mixed results. In 1913, he was fitted with a superheated boiler, and shortly after gaining it, he was loaned to the North Western Railway in 1914 and was eventually purchased by it in 1918. When he was bought, he underwent a pretty drastic rebuild where he was modified with parts of a withdrawn Midland Railway 700 class, a custom-built cab, and was given a Fowler tender. He handled the Wild Nor'Wester until Henry was brought on in 1922. Unfortunately, due to his poor steaming, the Blue engine was kept under service until Gordon took over in 1924, after which he was demoted to being a mixed traffic engine, which he didn't mind at all. By 1925, bigger and stronger engines had arrived, and because of this, Edward was left in the sheds until a sympathetic crew brought him out. After his day out and proving he still had some soul left in him, he was reassigned to the Brenda branch line, where he still works to this day. And I have nothing much to say about that. His story goes the same as in the books. He rescued Trevor, he pulled his train home on a single axle, you name it. Finally, a character I changed something drastic with. Just like in the Railway series, Henry was made from stolen blueprints of an engine with a small firebox and sold to the NWR for a cheap price. Like I mentioned, he was put on the Wild Nor'Wester, but failed at it, and he was demoted to being a mixed traffic engine. In 1925, shortly after Edward's day out, he was taking a passenger train when all of a sudden he began losing steam. Both he and his crew tried everything, but nothing worked, and as a result, he had to stop in a tunnel. Mr. Oliver Isaac, the director at the time, was on board the train and finally had enough of the green engine's steaming problems. The coaches were taken away by another engine, and he ordered that Henry would be walled up in the tunnel. Many of the workmen, and even Topham, who was Mr. Isaac's assistant, tried to convince him, but the incompetent man didn't budge. Henry stayed in the tunnel for 3 days, and after Gordon burst his safety valve near it, he, along with Edward, took the train the rest of the way. In 1926, he was given Welsh coal to deal with his steaming troubles, and it worked. However, it was very expensive. As a result of this, Henry was completely rebuilt into a 460 tender engine in 1930, and it was a major success. Henry's steaming troubles were gone. However, in 1935, he was assigned to take a large fish train heading to Manchester, known as the Flying Kipper. The run was going well until they reached Kildane, where he crashed into the back of a goods train waiting for the Kipper to pass. Henry was damaged very badly in the accident, and as a result of this, Topham sent him away to Crewe, where he was rebuilt into an Eleanor's Jubilee. After that, his story goes the same as in the books. He sneezed at some boys, rescued 2 diesels, the list goes on. Gordon is another character that I didn't change a whole lot. It honestly feels like a broken record at this point. Gordon was built using the 1920 A1 draft, but due to a backlog of engines and coaches being built, he wasn't finished until 1921. Gordon was trialed on the GNR, where he was deemed a major success. However, his valve gear gave him a lot of trouble, so because of this, another prototype was built, GNR number 1470, Great Northern. Gordon worked on the GNR and later the LNER until he was withdrawn in 1924 for being non-standard. However, instead of scrapping him, he was sold to the NWR at a nominal sum. Like I said before, Gordon was placed on the Wild Nor'Wester after arriving on Sodor, and he was a major success with the passengers, and the service improved tremendously, but his first few weeks weren't without issues. A few days after he was acquired, he stalled on the steepest hill on the island. At first, the engine started calling it Gordon's Hill as a joke, but in 1933 it was made official, and as you can imagine, he wasn't really happy about this. In March of 1939, he was sent to Doncaster Works, where he was rebuilt into an A1 and was sent back to Sodor in May of that year. However, a few months later, World War II broke out, and in 1940, during the bombing of Barrow, he managed to save 2 engines from a bomb that was about to hit the station. Who were they? Well, I think you can figure it out. As a reward for this, he was given a Stania tender by the LMS, which he would keep because when he saved those 2 engines, his old GNR tender got damaged very badly in the explosion. After the conflict was over, he was repainted back into NWR colors and returned to pulling the Wild Nor'Wester. After that, it's pretty much the same as in the books. He fell into a ditch after refusing to pull a goods train, rescued Thomas who fell down a mine, met the Queen, etc, etc. Fun fact, Gordon was the first of the main 11 that I did a train's reskin on. Well, the first that I ever made, not the first that I ever made public. James is another character I didn't change much. Wow, how surprising! The only change really worth mentioning is that he's an actual LNYR Class 28, and he was rebuilt into a 260 after his infamous incident with the trucks. I also plan on rewriting his stories from the books to make it less like a copy of Thomas's stories, but I don't want to share any of them. This is not just because I don't have anything to present yet, but even if I did, I would spoil a project that I have coming up. What is that? Well, you just have to wait and see. Percy was built in 1917 by the Avonside Engine Company for a sugar plantation in Hungary, but the order was cancelled at the last minute, so they put him on trial at a coal mine in Scotland. But they weren't satisfied with him, so he was sent back. Over the years, he bounced around many owners across the country. Said owners modified him over the years. In 1924, he was sold to a quarry in Scotland, but just 2 years after he arrived, a rock slide caused it to close its operations. The majority of the engines, along with Percy, was sent to a workshop in England. At said workshop, the little green engine was bought by the fat director and became the railway's number 6. After that, story goes the same as in the books. Toby was built in 1908 as GER number 138. He worked on the Great Eastern Railway and later the London and North Eastern Railway at Yarmouth Docks alongside many of his siblings and a D-15 named Molly. In 1943, he was withdrawn from service, but instead of being scrapped, he was sold with Molly to the Great Waterton Railway. They worked there until the railway faced serious financial troubles and was bought out by the North Western Railway in 1947. After that, the story goes the same as in the books. He scared the shit out of a police officer, he nearly fell off a bridge, helped Percy spook Thomas, you name it. Duck was built in 1929 at Swindon Works as GWR number 5753. He worked at Paddington as a station pilot where he met many engines over the years. In 1955, he was sold to the NWR to work at Tidmouth after Percy went off to Thomas's branch line to help out with the goods. But before Percy left, they put some snooty engines in their place. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. In 1958, a Class 08 shunter named Diesel was put on trial at the big station, and after Duck played a nasty trick on him, Diesel spread lies about the paddy, which got him sent away. He helped bank trains up Gordon's Hill since the banker at the time, Big Bertha, was at the works after her cylinder burst. Doc and Edward managed to work just fine, but one day, Doc was rolling down the hill after helping a goods train up the hill. However, another engine was also struggling, and the coupling between her and her train broke. And I think you know what happened next. He successfully evaded a catastrophe by crashing into the barbershop at Crosby, and after being sent to the works, he returned to a great warm welcome. In 1967, when he was sent to the Alsburg branch line, he was rebuilt with a bigger cab and therefore became a Great Western Railway 8750. He would keep this taller cab until 2012, when he was converted back into a Great Western Railway 5700, due to the show's popularity and to spare younger children the confusion. Wait, where did I hear that before? Donald and Douglas are still Caledonia Railway 652s built in 1909. However, I did change one thing: their numbers. In the books, they are BR number 57646 and 57647, and to be honest, I don't like that at all. Why? It's simple. The Caledonian Railway was absorbed into the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, and then that was absorbed into the British Railways. All LMS engines inherited by BR would have had 40,000 added to their numbers, and applying that logic to the twins' numbers, that would mean that they would have been LMS number 17646 and 17647. Unfortunately, there's a little problem with that. Two Caledonian Railway Class 30s have these numbers, and they can't be Class 30s because all four members of the class were withdrawn and scrapped between 1930 and 1947. So yeah, them being fictional outer members simply doesn't work. That's why they are Caledonian Railway number 326 and 327 in my AU. They worked on the Caledonian Railway hauling goods trains, usually double-heading them, and they continued these duties into the days of the LMS, where they were renumbered to 17642 and 17643. During World War II, they were stationed at Barrow where... you know what happened. After the war was over, they returned to Scotland and continued their duties well into the British Railways era, where they were renumbered to 57642 and 57643. However, in the late 1950s, diesels started appearing on the network, slowly at first, but as the years went on, more and more of Donald and Douglas's shedmates were withdrawn and scrapped. Because of this, when Donald was sold to the NWR, Douglas ran away with him, and after some shenanigans like misplacing a coach, smashing into a signal box, destroying a spiteful brakeman, and a deputation, they became the Railways 9 and 10, and have remained there ever since. I changed almost nothing about Oliver, other than the fact that he's Great Western Railway number 1453 instead of 1436. Although he did wear the 1436 number plate to hide from diesels and BR officials. Besides that, the story goes the same as in the books. He escaped the soda with Douglas's help, he fell into a turntable weld, he nearly killed Scruffy, the list goes on. Emily's a Great Northern Railway Stirling single, built in 1876 and worked at the GNR, hauling luxurious express trains from King's Cross to York. She wasn't actually named Emily when she was first built, she went by a different name, HMS Alexandra, after a battleship that was built the same year as her. And as you can imagine, it went to her smoke box very quickly. She even managed to drive some of her own siblings away, but she didn't care about that at the time. In 1883, she was sold to the Southern Mainland Railway and worked there until it was absorbed in 1914. After an event that I wanted to explore in a future project of mine, she became distant and even asked her crew to take her nameplates off. Where are they now? Who knows? Eventually, she apologized to every engine she was rude to on Sodor, and they all forgave her. All except one. But that's a story for another day. When Edward came to the railway, she was demoted to being a mixed traffic engine. But over time, she found her work exhausting. As a result of this, she became the first official works engine in 1926, and she's still doing these duties to this day, although she does help out on the main line when she needs to, and she would regularly pull rail tows as well. Ooh, jeez Louise. So yeah, that was my ideal takes on the main 12 characters. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your support for the first part. I genuinely did not expect for it to blow up like that. And I can only thank you guys for that. You're the reason why I can do this. And I can't thank you enough. So, what's going to happen from now on? Well, I'm gonna let you guys decide who you want to see next. Perhaps a hit era character, maybe a season 7 classic, or maybe a Railway series exclusive. Who knows? I'll let you be the judge of that. The vote of it would be in my community post, so go over there if you want to check it out. I've been X Benedict, and thank you for watching.